We are in southeastern Arizona, west of Safford, traveling U.S. Highway 70, also known as the Old West Highway. We are heading through the beautiful Gila River Valley to the community of Fort Thomas. Fort Thomas lies 143 miles southeast of Phoenix and 152 miles northeast of Tucson. The population of this small town stays around 300 inhabitants, and although it has its own post office and its own zip code, it's never been incorporated as a town. Fort Thomas began as a U.S. Army fort in the late 1800s. This was a time when the West was still wild. The Gila River Trail was the main wagon route through the valley. Pioneers and homesteaders were just beginning to settle here, testing the land for various crops and livestock. Arizona was governed as a Western territory and wouldn't officially become a state for another 30 years. As more settlers came in and the valley grew more peaceful, the Army fort was deemed no longer necessary. The fort was closed in 1891, but the small settlement remained, welcoming farmers and ranchers who could manage the harsh conditions of the desert valley and respect the beauty of the surrounding mountains. Melvin Jones was born here January 13, 1879. He spent nearly a decade living in this rugged frontier outpost before his mother moved their family to the Midwest. In 1917, Melvin Jones was living in Chicago, Illinois, where he owned a successful insurance firm. He saw a need for an organization where individuals could come together, share information and knowledge, and provide positive and uplifting service to their communities. Through friends and business networks, he was inspired to form the Association of Lions Club International. The news of this organization quickly spread across the nation. Clubs and memberships began to grow. While serving the Lions Club as Secretary General, Melvin Jones was able to travel back to Arizona several times. He came back to the place where he was born, to the land where he'd spent his formative years. It was here, where he had been surrounded by soldiers serving their country, where settlers had worked hard to tame the land, and where industrious entrepreneurs labored to bring goods and services to the newly formed communities. As founder of Lions Club International, Melvin Jones was pleased with the idea of a monument honoring his birthplace. He was asked for input for the exact location of the memorial and the spirit of the design, but he was never able to see the beauty of the park, the marble spire, or the carefully carved stone. Melvin Jones passed away June 1st, 1961. The Melvin Jones International Memorial, under the direction of the Safford Lions Club, was constructed and dedicated in 1965. The Fort Thomas train depot and stockyards that once stood across the highway from the memorial are gone. Only the foundation remains. The adobe structures of the old Army fort have washed away, and new fence lines and pavement have changed the landscape of the old homesteads. Fort Thomas is still a small community. There are many families who have lived here for decades. Land is passed down to new generations of farmers and ranchers who carry on the traditions, growing the cotton and cattle that remain vital industries in the Southwest. In Fort Thomas, along the Old West Highway, the Melvin Jones Lions International Memorial stands tall. We travel here to appreciate the history of the Lions Club. We travel here to affirm our dedication to Lionism and the principles we hold true. We travel here to the small town in the Gila River Valley to pay tribute to the man who inspired millions worldwide. We are Lions. We serve.